feel like proximity, there's something about proximity that I value, but
Yeah,
I also think we also have to learn how to deal with it.
yeah, my entire house has been converted to literally expanding the capacity to reach folks virtually.
Yeah.
I do consulting work.
Yeah.
I have a client in another part of the state, another one in Boston. And at the end of the day, I haven't seen either of those clients face to face more than twice in 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think in some of these cases, like I think especially like the work of this, you know, the mentoring collaborative, the work of the community work we're trying to do. I think that relationship, I don't know. I think it's a little different than a more transactional, I don't know. I just feel it in some ways it's different. That kind of physical proximity makes, I don't know. And I mean, there's probably some psychological reason that I don't know because I'm not trained in that skill set, but just find it tricky. So
yeah, I mean, it's an interesting. I probably would not have attended today if there were not a virtual option. And in fact, most of the meetings that I've attended over the last several months, if they don't offer a virtual option, I probably will not attend.
yeah. Well, also people are making health decisions, and I value that. I mean, I certainly, I get all of the things. So.
Then there's that, right?
Yeah, no, I get all that. Yep.
So.
And traffic and gas.
Well, the traffic and the gas. I mean, I just rolled up to the tank, and you know, $11 worth of an 11-gallon tank cost me nearly $50.
Mm-hmm.
I like y'all. I don't like y'all that much.
Well, Curtis, I would spend $100 to see you. So
you know what? You can lather that on. Lies.
It's the truth. I appreciate you. So it is 9:07 and we are still hopefully gathering people here in person. However, Samuel is probably ready to kick us off with our welcome. So we are recording, and I apologize for just doing it without informing you, but we are recording for those who are not able to make it, and it's also going on our YouTube page. We are doing some editing, so all of the meeting doesn't go on the YouTube page, but just wanted to inform you. But welcome, and thank you, Samuel, for getting us started.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I always got to check that mute button, right? No matter how many times we do this. So welcome, and welcome again. So, you know, reflections, right? We know that collaboration is a critical component to success, right? We say it all the time. And we know that by listening to and learning from our community, collaborative efforts like this help us to become not only more efficient, but ultimately leads to the kind of innovation that will transform lives in this community. We know it does take a little bit of time and a lot of hard work, but we also know that it's very much worth it. And to that end, I do want to welcome each and every one of you to the Greenville Mentoring Collaborative's May meeting. And in the spirit of community, I do want to go around the room, giving each one of the representatives, both online and in person this morning, at least 15 to 20 seconds, right? To say your name and the organization that you're working with or that you're working for, or that you're just here representing. And I will be remiss if I didn't go first. So Samuel Bellamy here, consultant with Mentor, the National Partnership, as well as program officer with the Coastal Community Foundation. And I will pass it along to my online visitors first, and we will start with Catherine. Catherine, when you finish, if you will just call on the next person so that we can keep the momentum going. And once all of our online participants, it looks like there's just a couple of us, we will toss it to Alicia to facilitate the in-person introductions for us.
Great. Thank you, Samuel. I'm Catherine Schumacher. I'm the president and CEO of Public Education Partners, Greenville County. We work closely with the school district to support student achievement and public education here, and are really excited to be involved and present with the Mentoring Collaborative. So I will invite Curtis to introduce himself.
Good morning, all. Curtis Askew. I am with the 100 Black Men of the Upstate. And I'm happy to be here and work with you all and trying to move mentoring forward. And I'm going to go with Chris Alonji.
Boy, you nailed my name. Good job. I'm Chris Alonji, Program Director for Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Upstate. So nice to see everyone as always. We provide one-to-one mentoring for at-risk kids. Very excited to be here. Very excited to meet some new folks. Oh, sorry. Let's see. I don't see any other online.
I think that is all of our online guests. So Alicia, if you will facilitate our in-person introductions.
Absolutely. Samuel, are you hearing me clearly? Because I think our internet is breaking up on this end.
I can hear you clearly now.
Can you hear us?
Yep.
You can. Okay. Alicia Brewster. I am here. Yes. I'm Alicia Brewster. I've been a part of the Mentoring Collaborative since its inception about 4 years ago. And I am helping to facilitate our meetings and the work that we have done over the past year, or about 6 or 7 months, I guess. And now, Mark.
Okay, I'm Mark Caligaris. I'm with the Greenville County Detention Center. I was managing the programming at the Juvenile Detention Center and will in probably about a year to 18 months when we reopen that. So that's who I am.
Hello, I'm Shanada McFadden. I'm here representing the Phoenix Center. I do adolescent outreach, and I used to work at the juvenile detention facility for about 3 years. Maybe even a half ago.
Goes by fast, doesn't it?
It does.
Brandon Montgomery, Forward and Beyond. We do a lot of different things, but we pride ourselves in our after-school mentoring programs, specifically for middle school students right now. But you know, we do stuff for students all over the city. So wherever there's a need, we try to see if there's something that we can do to help fill it.
And that is it for the room so far.
Oh, I see a famous person walking in.
Oh, is there a oh, okay. So Edward, you're it.
There you go.
He's gonna grace us with his presence.
We were just going around, but I think everybody knows.
He walks in rooms and doesn't have to introduce himself.
Stop it.
Yes.
Stop it. How you doing, Mark?
Yeah, let's hear
How you doing,
it.
Mark? You're getting a lot of time, so you're gonna get another. You know, Curtis? You know.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I'm going to turn the camera off. Samuel, can you repeat what you just said? Because we didn't hear you.
Yeah, I think that was me freezing just now. I was saying, you know, even though we all know Edward, we still need to hear it, man. We still need to hear the intro.
I agree.
You have to share a monologue.
A monologue.
We've all shared
You
monologues.
have to do an early childhood monologue on why you chose to campus plan.
All right, Edward Anderson, Executive Director for OnTrack Greenville.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I see Natalie just joined. We'll give her a minute for her audio to connect. Natalie, are you with us? Maybe.
I am sorry.
Wonderful. No, you're right on time. We're just on time. We're just you will please share your name, that you are with. I see Ms. joined as well. After call on her to also provide an introduction.
Okay, pardon my audio if it's bad, you guys, but I am Natalie. I'm the director of Mentor Upstate. I've been with the organization on staff for about 4.5 years, but I've been a mentor to a student for about 7 years, to the same student. So yeah, I'm excited about the work that the collaborative does. Mentor Upstate works with helps schools, the Greenville County schools, to build and develop mentoring programs. And so, you know, I'm excited about what we're able to do collectively as a group.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Natalie. And I see Miss Janice has turned into Victor. Victor, if you'll please introduce yourself, just name, organization that you work with, that would be great.
Hey, Victor Dora out of Spartanburg, South Carolina. Also, we work with folks in Greenville also, but with Brothers Restoring Urban Hope. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you again. Alicia, has there been anyone else to join live, or is that everyone?
That's everyone.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we want to thank everybody again for your time this morning. We certainly appreciate it, and we don't take it lightly, because we know that with the increased participation in Zoom meetings, we know your Zoom meetings are back to back to back to back because you don't have to travel. So we appreciate you taking the time out to join us this morning. And I will pass it over to Alicia for Mentor Collaborative launch and partner updates.
Tether.
Just tether me.
To my setup if you want to try to tether.
We can see if it works better. So
Uh-oh, did we lose them?
I think if they're at the United Way, the internet over there might be a little dicey.
We're gonna have to go in there and change that. They need Wi-Fi mesh.
I mean, you know, United Way fundraising isn't what it used to be. So, I mean, maybe they can't afford fancy Wi-Fi over at the United Way. I don't know what the deal is.
I'm not trying to hear that, Catherine. Look, I had to pull it out of my house. I froze up on a client, and I was like, okay, that's the last time that's gonna happen.
That's hilarious.
It's called tri-band, people.
We're on.
Oh, there you are.
As we're back. All right. Wonderful, wonderful. Alicia, I was just passing it over to you for GMC updates.
all right, excellent. So I am pulling up something real quick, and while I'm doing that, I guess I'll ask Edward if he will give us an update on the director position, and then we'll get into a couple of other updates.
Yeah, absolutely. So the part-time director for mentoring, a mentor collaborative, will be posted very soon. The job description has been written with the support of the mentor collaborative leadership. And after some additional revisions from recommendations by the leadership, we will get that job posted. Some of the things we're looking at is, what does it mean by part-time? You know, what does that mean in terms of number of hours, in terms of what that salary looks like, and so forth. And so we are very excited that we will be able to post that position very shortly to facilitate, support, and do all the things. So you'll see that on probably on the United Way or OnTrack website very soon. So if you're interested, please reach out. If you know someone that may be interested in that role, have them be on the lookout for that job description.
Thank you. That is huge.
Lisa, will we be emailing, once we know the job description is up, will we be emailing all of our members? Just so
Yes, I will
aware
definitely
of that.
email the collaborative. Yeah, we definitely want the collaborative primarily to have first access to that information, but certainly also to send it out to your network. Are there any other questions or any other discussion about the collaborative director position? All right. So I'm going to come back to the website. I did want to show off a couple of new features that we have on our website. The Black Male Mentor Initiative. So we are sort of formalizing and kicking off an initiative to really prioritize meeting a gap that we have known about for many, many years in our community. And I have worked in the mentoring space for several years, and consistently when I have worked with Big Brothers or with even Mentor Upstate and Lead Collective, and even somewhat with the Good Guys program that I managed, the need for Black male mentors consistently was a priority for schools, for parents, and even for youth themselves. And so we are, as a collaborative, working to strategically help to fill that gap. And we kicked off our first meeting with Black male mentor leaders, organizations that primarily serve Black male youth a couple of weeks ago, and we had some great conversation, and it was an awesome time to just bring together individuals who have similar goals but may not have been working in a coordinated way. And so we'll continue to work towards building that coordination that will be needed for us to really fill the gap that we know exists and has existed in our community for a long time. We also kicked off the year with a conversation about critical mentoring, and we have Brandon Montgomery, who's back here today to talk about a training platform. He'll talk about that in just a few minutes with Dr. Anderson. But we know that we have to work together really to support each other so that we can build our own capacity to provide the type of mentoring that is recommended for our Black male youth in particular, understanding that there are certain social, political, and economic oppressions that those young people face, and that they have to be ready to deal with those issues. And the power of our approach is really that we can help you thrive in face of the obstacles that we're aware of. So more to come on our initiative and the work that we'll be doing, the discussions that we'll be doing. Dr. Greer, I think, did a great job last month in talking about some of the specific ways that as mentors, as Natalie did the same thing, ways mentors can be better prepared to serve the needs of our Black male youth, as well as youth who have faced various traumas and need some additional support, and just a different way of approaching the way we work with them. And then finally, I want to share my screen. Thank you so much. I think the Wi-Fi is working a lot better now. So our Greenville Mentoring website is up. We haven't done any type of PR push yet because we still have a couple of things that we need to work out. Kenny, as you can see, is absent today, and he is the website master. So there are a couple of things I was able to update, but there are still some things that Kenny's expertise is needed for. Bring your attention to the fact that we do have the State of Mentoring report that the Mentoring Collaborative produced a couple of years ago that's available for you to share when you're talking about the work of the collaborative. We also have a section or a tab called Get Involved, and on that tab we have started filling our YouTube page, and we have it linked here so you can easily access it with the past speakers. So for example, Dr. Greer's presentation, Dr. Greer and Natalie's presentations are on our YouTube page. We're going to add all of our past speakers on our YouTube page. And so one of the big reasons that our website is so important is because we do want to make it easier for parents and counselors and even youth and potential mentors to get involved. We do have a partner or a partner directory, and we are working to get that in like an alphabetical order. So let me just go to that right now. It's there, and there are some partner organizations listed. If you don't see your organization listed and you didn't complete the Google form that was sent out last month, please make sure that you do that. That's how your organization will get listed in the partner directory, but it'll be a little bit easier for people to navigate. We're going to put it in ABC order. We're going to add a little bit of information so that people who go to the partner directory have a little bit more information about what those organizations offer. And then for the Find a Mentor and Become a Mentor tabs, we have an get more information section for an individual to request a mentor or to be able to request an organization that they can connect with to get started as a mentor. So just want to bring your attention to those updates to our website, and we are well on our way. Pretty soon we'll be able to show it off to everybody. I want to publicly, every time I get a chance, to acknowledge because he is awesome and he is the reason that we have such a wonderful website. So that's it for me. And now I think I will ask Dr. Anderson and Brandon, to share with us about the platform that they have to, let's see here, where are we? Let me stop sharing. Was it already pulled up?
It was pulled up. I have his mouse.
Okay. All
right, guys. So again, Edward here. I am pleased to share with you today a product that we have been working on in collaboration with Forward and Beyond and some other organizations as well. But Forward and Beyond has taken this project and really taken it to the next level. So I guess it was a year and a half ago when I first connected with the collaborative, and I know one of the initial conversations was around what does a training look like that is culturally competent, that understands students from various backgrounds, so it embraces diversity, and that is really trauma informed because we know the challenges our students are facing, especially at the time when we all kind of intersected during COVID. And so through that conversation, and then through OnTrack Greenville specifically launching an OnTrack Greenville mentoring out of need, it was never meant to be an ongoing program. So we launched an OnTrack Greenville mentoring program during COVID because our schools, specifically, again, Berea Middle, Lakeview Middle, Tanglewood, Carolina High, and Berea High, we just kept getting request after request as our partner. Can you provide us with mentors? Can you support us? What, you know, we're not, the other organizations aren't allowed in our schools right now, but you are. And so with that partnership, Bert, superintendent, was allowing OnTrack providers for community schools and Prisma and even PEP and so forth, was allowing OnTrack providers to be in school still because of the nature of the partnership and the MOU and all the different agreements. And so we launched a mentor program. We recruited, did some heavy recruiting with one of our partners, Prisma, and we got about 10 to 15 different medical professionals, whether they were doctors, nurses in the medical program as students, to really be a mentor for the OnTrack Greenville program. And we were able to match those mentors for the rest of the year to students. one of the things that we, as well as you all at the time, were talking about was the training. And so we were, the best training that I've ever experienced myself personally, as well as the mentors that were coming into my space as a principal, were mentors from Ford and beyond. They seem to be very equipped to support the students at Tanglewood. And so I reached out to Brandon, I think in October of last year, and told him that I was looking at taking his training and really looking at how can it be converted from this dynamic in-person training where he pulls out all the stops, this full day, and really condense it to something that could be virtual and something that we could provide to our mentors. One of the things that we figured out was that when you're talking about professionals like doctors, their schedules are so busy, so they couldn't even, they wanted to mentor badly, and then it was, well, I can only do a Saturday from 9 to 10, right, or I can only do a Sunday from this time to this time. And Brandon was gracious enough to pull his full training like in those little slots. Like he would pull an hour here, 2 hours there. And then it got to the point where it was like, okay, this is too much capacity need. Like he can't keep doing that. It's not fair to him. And so we started looking at what it would look like to do it virtually. So in November, after looking at other evidence-based programs around the country, there's some free programs out there. There's some other type of modules. There's some programs you can purchase. They're all great. The one thing they seemed to be missing was what the upstate needed, what Greenville needed, our conditions around our community. And so we started partnering on and developed a partnership and program, a training center. And so when you, I'll share this in a second, when you go into this OnTrack Greenville Training Center, we have more courses than just the mentor training. And so that's why it's like in this Thinkific platform, because we also do all of our onboarding for all of our partners through this. And so if you want to learn more about OnTrack, you will go in there, you can learn about all of our partners, what we do, how we originated, and so forth. People would take modules and at the end they would get a certificate. So the mentor training is very similar. You have all these modules that have been developed and can continue to be developed with this partnership and this collaborative, adding each year and iterations. If you have a really strong module that you know could be provided, then that module can definitely be inserted into this training. But Brandon can talk to you specifically in a second about some of what that training incorporates. But I just wanted to give you kind of a background of our why and how we got to this point. And again, it's not meant to be comprehensive. I don't think any program is fully comprehensive when you're talking about the needs of students, especially how the world and community is changing all the time. But we did want to provide something that was very culturally competent, something that was trauma-informed, and with faces of people that you know. So within this training, you'll see trauma-informed specialist TJ Romlin talking about his area of expertise, which is trauma. It's not us talking about it because that's his area of expertise. You'll see Carolina Vandervoorde, one of the social workers at Greenville County Schools, talking about her work and working with families that speak other languages and what that approach should be when you're mentoring or best practices around it. So I'll give you just a quick sneak peek of what some of the lessons look like. This is the draft. These modules have been updated, but this is just an overview of the quality of what you'll see when you go into this training. So again, you have, let's just say there's just, again, this isn't fully uploaded. So welcome, there's a welcome, what is OnTrack Greenville and Ford and beyond, what is your mentorship, program goals will be provided, objectives, and then of course outline. There will be questions after each module. And I don't see the videos, maybe take it down. Let's see. Okay, give me just a second. Brandon, I don't know if you want to share now. I'll go ahead and pull up some of the videos.
So I guess one of the things that I think a lot of us we want to do is we want to create impact, right? We want to take whether our bad experiences or our good experiences and provide some type of perspective to these students to see that their life is going to continuously change. And hopefully based upon some of the things that I've been privy to in my life, whether the knowledge that I've received from college or just life itself, we want to mentor and help students move forward and push the needle, right? And so in order to do that, you do need some sense of what you're walking into, right? We have the heart. The heart is the most important piece of somebody that says, I want to give of myself. I want to give of myself to someone else. I want to sacrifice something to see someone else go up. And like Dr. Anderson said, we looked at a lot of different trainings online. A lot of them were older, back in the 80s, 90s, maybe some early 2000s. But one thing we wanted to be, especially for students in this school district, is relevant, relatable, and relational. I know I talk about those things all the time, but we wanted to provide something that people can take a look at and simply say, you know what, I have a better knowledge and better understanding of what I may potentially be walking into, because not every school is going to be the same. Not every student is coming from a situation where it's just a dire straits at home. It's some of these students have great homes. Some of these students have great lives, but every student deserves to be mentored. Every student deserves a different perspective outside of the ones that they continuously hear. And so we wanted to prepare mentors going into these school districts, especially when you talk about the Bereas, the Tanglewoods, the Lakeviews. We want them to understand that there may be some things that you encompass to give you a better understanding and a perspective so that you can be relational, relevant, and relatable to these students. So some of what you're going to see is us giving you a glimpse of things that you may potentially see in these schools, and also the perspective that you might need to have walking in there so that you can really connect and reach these students in a way outside of just saying that you did something just to do it. No, you did something that created impact and it was long lasting in the lives of these students. And because of some of the training, you have a better understanding of what you're walking into potentially versus just going in there and hoping you do a good job and not really having all the tools to make sure that you are confident walking in there knowing that you're going to do a good job.
All right, so I'll show you maybe a few clips.
Hello and welcome. My name is Brandon Montgomery and I am the CEO and founder of Forward and Beyond Outreach. Now, we've been in the local community for about the last 2 years and we've had the privilege of meeting wonderful educators and administrators who care about the youth here and want to do all they can to make a difference, especially this gentleman here, Dr. Edward Anderson.
Thank you, Brandon. As Brandon stated, I'm Dr. Edward Anderson. I'm the Executive Director of OnTrack Greenville with United Way. We are excited to be launching this newly created mentor training program that focuses on the at-risk youth in our community.
So you want to know what's funny? What you guys are looking at, honestly, this thing, we've gone back and forth with this, like he said, like the last 6 months. So what you guys are looking at right now is the rough draft. This isn't even the final completed one because there are certain things that we've gone back in. Like he said, we added different people. We saw some things that we liked and we were like, this is good, but how can we make it better? So some of what you're seeing now is when we first initially started, we filmed things, we've added different experts from the community. We made sure that we had a lot of different information and a lot of the things that I'm quoting and citing, we have all of the resources listed so people can go back and hear themselves. We even have Elizabeth Saricchio with the LGBTQ community. She came in and provided some information, and we have additional videos that she'll be able to talk about as it relates to cultural competency. I mean, everything from cultural competency, mandated reporting, adverse childhood experiences, dealing with students in impoverished situations. We tried to touch on everything that is actually going on in this community because again, we say that Greenville, but that Greenville encompasses so many different experiences, so many different students, so many different lives. And so we want to make sure if we're mentoring in that Greenville, then we're mentoring to everyone in that Greenville. And so again, some of what you'll see some of the rough drafts maybe in this one, but we've gone back time after time, changed things, edited things. Now, is there such thing as a perfect training video? No. A lot of these things are going to be some of what the research that Dr. Anderson, Taylor, and my team has been able to do, but also some of these are life experiences from mentoring in Indiana to Texas to South Carolina to Georgia to Alabama, things that we've actually seen that has happened in person, and we talk about it to give people a better perspective of becoming the best mentor that they could be.
So Brandon, this is how Children's Defense Fund got started. This is how CDF took off and ran. You've been doing it for 2 years and you've been researching and whatever. Now you're putting it in practice. I mean, just that video alone is up to date to me. We was just talking about this a couple of weeks ago, how we need something very fresh, man, for our young men, man. This is fresh.
Yeah.
Like fresh.
Yeah, and the mentors, again, you want to relate. I love everybody that's actually on the call. From Catherine's team to Bruh Mentors. Oh my God, they are just really doing their thing. And so it's about coming together and taking all of our experiences. Again, we don't want to be the end to the means, but we want to be a means to the end, right? And so hopefully this training can give people the ability to be that means to an end for a student or for their family members, or just even exposing people to different things and perspectives outside of their own. And so that was our desire and our goal when we were creating this.
Thank you, Brandon. I'll share this last piece with you, and I thought it was phenomenal. I happened to be in that studio the day it was recorded, and I don't know if this specific one is in the final video or it's final training or not, but I just thought it was powerful. I think it's a good way to close out this conversation. And of course, we want to answer any questions that you have.
Can I have your attention? If only for a brief moment, can I just get you to listen and understand the power that lies within your daily decisions will produce the quality of life that you or someone else will be living. You can get out. No, there's no question about it. There's no doubt. Your possibilities are endless, but words of affirmation is the beginning. Tell me, what's your perception on the world that you live in? Know that Fab is here to give you a new pen, to help rewrite the script of your life. We are here to teach you how to look at your own reflection in the mirror and speak victory over the hard times of your life. No, it won't always be easy, but it can be done. Know that every time that you get up and show up for life, you have already won, but our goal is to push you forward and beyond even that. There are so many doctors, nurses, lawyers, teachers, counselors, coaches, entrepreneurs. There are so many professionals that are sitting in this room. Don't ever forget that those seeds live on the inside of you. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what others may say. Your challenge is to wake up and to water those seeds that live within you each and every day by making good decisions and speaking words of affirmation over yourself like, I am so much bigger than this. I am the answer to someone else's problem. I am not a mistake. I am a masterpiece. There is so much value found in me. I am Fab, faithful, ambitious, becoming even more resilient. My vocabulary is being built. My mind is brilliant. No stumbling block will stand in my way. No wall will keep me out of my promise. I am an individual who has been groomed in integrity. I am an individual who is honest. Therefore, you can believe me when I say I will change the world around me, and I will move and I will help others move forward and beyond. Hi, I'm Mayunda Carter, one of your many mentors with Fab, and we are so grateful to serve you. So now, let's get busy on the hard work, pulling the greatness out of you.
One of the things, the last things I'll say is one of the things that you'll also notice is a lot of trainings, they want to be very polished, very professional, no mistakes, anything like that. What we did was we actually took, for the intro to a lot of the chapters, we took actual mentors from the city, students, former students of some of the schools that we're serving on the OnTrack schools, and they were introducing the chapters, and they were saying different things like, man, pay attention, because if I would have had this when I was in school, this would have been something that not only would have helped me, but I could have been in a position where I help others. And that's the whole purpose of this mentor training, is because people have a heart to come and help and serve others. And all we want to do is give them additional information and give them a boost so that they can continue to not only be who they were created to be, but hopefully they will have a better understanding of reaching who they created to reach as well.
It's a start, right?
Good job.
And I look forward to the future collaboration of this, because again, as the
gonna
community
evolve.
shifts, and there are modules obviously that you all have that we can all upload. That's the beauty of Think Kid Fix, right? We can add 13 modules to 20 modules.
Yeah.
We can add supplemental stuff if you want to know more about. Then click on this specific thing, which this expert talks about their particular thing. So
it's just the beginning. Like I said, what you heard, honestly, you guys heard the raw audio. We changed video, we changed sound. So you guys didn't even get to see the finished product. You're just getting a glimpse of what's to come.
Do you know when the finished product will be available?
Well, we're done filming and doing everything now. It's just putting everything together and thinking it. So it should be really soon.
It could probably, honestly, it takes the marketing person like 2 to 3 days to do all of it. Yeah. Upload all the quizzes that are attached to each of them. Definitely by the end of the month. Yeah, definitely by the end of
So my question, I'm glad that you said that more can be added, because the material, at least from what we saw, is very much marketing Fab and OnTrack Greenville, and for the collaborative partners to be able to utilize this for training their mentors, is there an opportunity for all of the partners to be able to, have, this tailored to be able to train their mentors, essentially?
Yeah, I think so. I think this training was developed with the current partnership in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So we went into this training like, we got 20 people that want to mentor at Barilla Lake and Tanglewood, and you've already been working at those schools, and so have we. How can we train those 20 people and make sure that they know what they need to know before going to work with those students?
Yeah.
Then it was like, hold on, this is bigger than that. We need to include other modules because this could be used with. So it was like, so yes, it can be, other pieces can be incorporated. I mean, there could be full chapters, partners and what partners provide and so forth.
And even to that, we really didn't try to market OnTrack and Greenville. Yeah, we have it in a couple of our titles and things like that. But that what you saw, that last piece, that wasn't even a part of the training. That's after people complete the training. That's just something to encourage them along the way. We don't have a lot of fab in there. We talk about our experiences in Fab, but we're not trying to promote Forward and Beyond. Yes, we partner together, but we don't want people to think this is only about us, because the majority of the training is about the information that they're going to learn that's going to be helpful and beneficial to them being the best mentor that they can be. You just happen to see that last part where it was talking about, she mentioned Fab a couple of times, but that was just something at the end. And we didn't, like he said, we would contemplate, like, do we want to use this? Let's just record it just in case and have it in there. And this could be something that we throw in at the end, just as a bonus clip for people after they've gone through the complete training. That's not even a part of the actual training.
So is there a way to kind of tie on to what Alicia said, to get the Greenville County Mentoring Collaborative mentioned in there as a, I don't know exactly the objective of everything in there, but try to, so we can connect. I want to be a mentor. Here's the things I need to do. Here are some options. You can start with the collaborative and we can direct you to whomever, or here are the collaborative partners, or get to the website and we contact our partners. If you want to find an organization, it could be Fab, it could be somebody else, but because mentor is going to have a different availability. Yeah. They're going to have a different heart for a different age child, gender child, race of child. I don't even know, but everybody comes in with preconceptions of, okay, this is what I think I can do. Like I can only do lunchtimes.
Yeah, so I don't want to speak for Dr. Anderson, but I know for us, if there's something specific that needs to be added, kind of like how we went back and added TJ Romer, we went back and added Carolina Vandervoorde. We went back and added Elizabeth Saricchio. And so there's, even if it's something that we put in the beginning or at the end, say, hey, to find out how you can become a mentor in Greenville, whatever it is, I feel like there's a way that we can put it in.
Or maybe even as I trust the professionalism, what you guys are doing, and have somebody collaborative. Yeah. You're on the board, as a voice to something that we're trying to create for all of Greenville mentoring.
I was going to say probably in the intro. So we talked about what is OnTrack and what is, I'm in the beginning, and then I don't even know if I do I do the end part of the conclusion? Yeah. So I'm in the intro and the conclusion, the rest is straight content, but I wonder if there could be a video on the intro. Well, just add a video that says I'm sitting here with the members of the Mentor Collaborative, and then go into some of that.
Yeah. Or maybe when the executive director is hired, they become a voice, because we want part of their job is going to be community relationships. Big part of it is connections. Oh yeah. Referral. So that might be helpful.
I think that's great.
We have three. So I assume that this is all on the this is the micro credentialing platform. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's different. Okay, great. That was what I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out the connectivity between sort of this, because I hear what Mark's saying about this is very on track. The sort of framing of it is very on track Greenville, which I get. But I do think that this more there's a community component to it that we need to be thoughtful about. Just to make sure it's that sort of sharing piece of it. So sorry, I misunderstood. I thought this was the same, the micro-credentialing land. So never mind.
Basically micro-credentialing is skill development, but it's a micro skill at a time. And the only reason this didn't fall under micro-credentialing is because mentoring, this is more of a training and it's more intense and involved, whereas micro-credentialing is like, I want to get good at having good conversations with kids. That's a skill. Like micro-credentialing would be, I want to be able to have good conversations with kids or other adults or people in school. And then after I finish that micro-credentialing, I know how to do that skill. So I think it can be developed from this if someone wants to refine a specific skill set. But this was more of like overview. These are the things you need to know. This is what you're going to see and experience, as opposed to like sharpening your skills.
I mean, we give scenarios and examples, because I know when we were doing the live training with a lot of the doctors from Prisma, the majority of their questions was, well, if I'm in this situation, what do I do? If a student says this, then how do I react or respond to that? You know, and so I tried to make sure I gave different scenarios of what to do or what not to do based on experiences. Of course, I'm not the expert in all things mentoring, but I wanted to make sure based on experiences, especially in the schools in this district, of some of the things that we've experienced, some of the things that we saw, here's how to handle certain scenarios and situations on top of the data that we looked up.
We do have a stack of questions. So Curtis, you're next, then Natalie.
Okay, my question is, how is this, if at all, being aligned with existing programming? For example, the 100 has what they call mentoring the 100 way. So if you're training folks to do mentoring in a particular way, how are you transitioning or aligning that training that you're offering with the way that other programs are training? Has there been any thought given to that?
Dr. Anderson, you want to answer that first?
You go ahead. I have a response.
So again, this is what we realized was there was a need for a basic overview of what it may look like walking into one of these Title I schools and some of the schools in the OnTrack that the OnTrack encompasses. And so we wanted to make sure, like I said, we're giving an overview of not how to train specifically, but an overview of cultural competency and what to be aware of when it comes to mentoring. An overview of dealing with students in impoverished situations. Not every student is coming from a impoverished situation, but we're talking about statistics and things to be aware of that we pulled data from multiple resources so that people know here's some things that you need to be aware of, but also here's some possible ways to encounter this. And so as it relates to other trainings, I know there's going to be so many different trainings that people have of how they choose to do things. This is not the FAB way. This is not the OnTrack way, because we pulled a lot of national data that anybody can look up. And we wanted to make people aware of things, but then we also pulled some local information based on the schools that people are going to serve here. And it's more specific to the schools in this area alongside of the national data that we were able to pull. And again, focusing on cultural competency. There's no specific way, but there are specific things we talk about: cultural competency, mandated reporting, average childhood experiences, poverty situations, those things. And then specifically in this area, what that looks like. We even threw in trauma. We even threw in, like I said, the LGBTQ information. And those people spoke on certain scenarios of what to do and what not to do. For instance, when we were talking about mandated reporting, TJ made some great comments about what we should and what we should not do and how we need to handle certain things. When we talked about average childhood experiences, we had certain people look at this and they said, hey, listen, you don't want to go too deep and act like these, you don't want people to come out of this and feel like they are all of a sudden a counselor now, right? We wanted to give an overview of a lot of different things so that people, regardless of what school you're going into, this would be generalized and helpful not for one specific student, not for one specific demographic, not for male or female, but an overview of how you can better deal with students in all types of situations.
And what we do know in mentoring is a trial and error.
That's right.
It's trial and error. You show up for the young person, you show up for the kid, you be present as much as you can, because you don't never get like you. I'm sure in the video, hopefully we in our videos, you know, you get there, you get cell phones. No, put that cell phone away and pay that kid some attention. Because a lot of us, I see mentors who come in, well, how you gonna mentor the kid if you on the phone? Like, so, you know, some of those things is trial and error. So somebody next time you see, you're like, nah, you can't put that phone up. You gotta, you know, certain things you gotta, it's trial and error. I don't even know how to put it.
But that's to your point, that's some of the things we talk about. We're talking about don't have your phone out. We talk about making sure that if you're gonna be there, be present, right? We talk about allowing and setting and establishing a precedence from the beginning with the students so that they can trust you and they understand you. But even talking about trust, we wanted to make sure that we let people know in the video, listen, when it comes to trust, we want you to build trust, but we don't want you to lie to them, because if they tell you something that's potentially gonna damage or hurt them or someone else, you got to let them know that we have to share that information. Right. And then we talked about the steps of going in and sharing that with people and how to go about doing that. And again, it wasn't just myself talking. We brought in some professionals and people that deal with this on a daily basis to say, hey, here's what we need to do in this situation. Here's what we need to do in that situation.
And I'll be very quick. I'll just say, like, when we started developing this training, again, we chose Forward and Beyond because we've seen the evidence of the work that had been done in those schools. And so we pulled out the core essence of what are those things. We talked to principals. We know, I've been a principal in those schools, like, these are the shortcomings of mentors when they walk in the tangle. They're not consistent. They don't have this. They don't do that, this, and they push our kids away, and it's ineffective. So let's pull all those things that we know are effective, honestly, with our kids in mind. I'm just going to be honest, with the students that are most at risk in this county. These are the things that you have to have. And if you come through OnTrack Greenville to work in one of the schools, what the principals know in those schools are that if they come through OnTrack Greenville, that they at least have heard and they know these things when they work with our kids. Like, the principals know, like, there's a standard at this point. Now, I think in terms of alignment with other organizations, like, I think, to me, I hope this saves time and effort. Like, you look at these modules and you're like, oh man, if my people can go through these modules, I don't have to do these 10 things, but I can focus on the 100 way now. Because I know that this is being taken care of when they go through this virtual training. I can focus on my 5 or 6 things that are unique to my organization. It's not trying to strip out your identity essentially from your organization. Right. You might do your whole full organization on top of, or you may not do it at all, right? But I do think it should save you some time of saying, like, it's already available. We're working in these schools. I know the principals have looked at this. It's in alignment with them. Let's go ahead and do this, but still do ours too. You know, so hopefully it just enhances.
We don't want to take away from anybody else on what they're doing or what they're trying to do. All we wanted to do was really, like you said, add and create some relevancy, some way that you can become relatable and relational to these students. And we hope that we want to work alongside of what you're already doing, not try to come in and replace and say, hey, this needs to be the new standard for all mentor trainings. No, this is just something based on experiences, based on what's going on here in this district, and based on the national data that we put together in hopes that people will get a better understanding of what it may look like to mentor in schools in this area.
So once it is public, will OnTrack and FAB mentors have to go through the training and get that certification?
If they come through OnTrack, they're gonna have to go through.
Yeah, our mentors in FAB already, this is the training that we've already gone through. And we've added more things to this though, just to make sure that we're touching all areas. Because we thought about, hey, what can we add that maybe we didn't talk about, or what do we need to reiterate, or what do we need to focus on a little bit more? Like, we really talk about, we've gone back and forth with cultural competency so much just in this area, because we have so many different nationalities and so many different cultures and so many different people from so many different backgrounds. And we want to make sure that we really drove home the point of understanding that your experiences don't dictate someone else's life and what they're going through currently, right? And so we just talked about it in a number of different ways, from, like I said, not only from our different races, but from the different things that we choose as far as our sexuality, as far as, you know, things like that, because you're going to see students that are dealing with all of that. And we just wanted to make sure, again, that we don't claim to be the experts in all these, but we wanted to touch on all of these areas, so to give people an understanding of what they could potentially be walking into.
One thing
We have, I'm sorry.
Would be good for the collaborative, is if they have an annual refresher for all those that went through the training and, you know, experienced new things, to like write something up and say, hey, I want a refresher on this, like a year from now, kind of get that through the Greenville Mentoring Collaborative, that they can, you know, have like a training for the refresher for the.
So Curtis, did you have anything else? Then we have Natalie and Chris that have been in stack.
Yeah, I'll just be very brief. The reason that I asked my question about alignment is I think that at the end of the day, when I heard certificate, and then I think I heard it again, that in order to work in an OnTrack school, you'd have to go through this training. That begs the question of whether or not it presents a challenge or a responsibility on the organization, the partnering organization, to vet their training versus what is already being presented. Does that make sense? There's a responsibility somewhere along the line that there's alignment. You don't want both organizations doing two different things, especially if one is required, right, in order to operate in an OnTrack school. I wouldn't want to tell the men in my chapter, okay, you have to do the 100 mentoring training, which is a 10-hour training, and then you have to go and do this additional training if you want to work in school X.
You don't have to. My thing is that they come to me. For example, there was a mentor, a Prisma Health, our nurse practitioner, said, there's a student at Carolina High who needs a mentor. Edward, do you have anybody in mind? I sent it out to Alicia. Alicia reached out to Stacy, and Stacy reached out to me and said, hey, I found somebody in the community. When can we connect this child? And I'm like, okay, we can connect, but if you come to me, if the principals say Edward sent you, if they say Edward sent me, I want to know that they have gone through what I know is the standard for coming through me. Right now, it's, I mean, if 10 different mentors went into one school, they could have had 10 different trainings. And that's fine, right? But for me and OnTrack, like, we haven't had anything. So what I'm basically doing is saying, what I'm requiring my mentors to do, if they come to me and say they want to work in the school, I'm not turning them away. But what I'm saying is, you got to do this first before you go into one of the schools. And the principals know that when they came from Edward, they have at least done this.
To be an OnTrack mentor.
To be an OnTrack mentor. But it doesn't mean that that doesn't stop anybody else from
mentor upstate.
Nope, it doesn't stop anybody else from doing any other thing. This is mine, and we're just sharing it out. And we try to keep in mind what other people may need as we develop it.
And the fact that they have their own extensive training, that's even better.
Right.
That's great that you have something that they have to go through, because the goal is a lot of what we were seeing is people just had a great heart, but they didn't have the knowledge of what they were walking into. So this is just to give people a better understanding. For those organizations that already have a great training, then they're already on the right track. They already have a great understanding of, you know, the etiquette, but also the reason why and the why behind why they're training. So,
but also ask the principals, because again, I was in that school for 13 years, and many times they were not ready and they were not equipped, and it was not great.
Natalie, and then Chris is up.
Hey, yeah, my question is more just kind of practical. So when someone goes through the training, I mean, you're mentioning a certificate, they're going through these online modules. So I guess there's something, I guess, that they receive that kind of shows I did go through this training, sort of like what like practically, if a mentor from Mentor Upstate is going to train through that, how do I know that they've completed the training so that when I tell the principal, I know that they've been through this? Because currently our process, they have to have trained with me, you know, or someone from our organization. And so we physically have seen them. And so if they're, obviously understand that having an online option is great, but I'm just curious, like what they receive, or practically what would that look like if a Mentor Upstate mentor uses that training? How do I know with confidence when I share, that person with the school that they've been through it?
I think that's something that we can discuss for sure. Basically, to your point, and they can say they did it, but the module is set up to where after each chapter, they have to answer specific questions. So they were paying attention, and they understood what was being done. At the end, they can print out something that says, I finished these modules. That encompasses X, Y, and Z. We get a list of the names of the people who register. So every time somebody does it, I'll see a name, but that's all I'll have. I don't know what organization they're a part of or any of that. But I think we can design a process by which y'all have access to the list. Like if there's a shared spreadsheet where you just have the people, those in the Mentor Collaborative can just go in and check to see who finished it. Or if you knew ahead of time, if you just called and said, hey, did so-and-so do the training? I could just, one of us, somebody on my team can check and say, oh yeah, their name is listed, they did it. But I think that's some process that we can definitely explore. It needs to be explored.
Excuse me, fellas. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Hey, this is Vic.
Victor, Chris was up next.
Oh, I was just gonna comment on that particular section, but okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I mean, wouldn't it just be easier, guys? Just like all online trainings, to have a where it would just automatically spit a certificate out, where you just automatically, when they sign in to take that particular training, boom, a certificate spits out that says, Victor, you have completed this training, and it comes out with like a little certificate. It just seems like on most online courses, you would automatically get that certificate. I think that'd probably be easier on y'all's end versus like 50,000 people calling y'all to get a list checked or whatever the case may be. So just my thoughts on that.
Thank you, Peter, for that, because it does do that. At the end, it does give them a thing they can print out that says they finished it. So yeah, to your point, they can just take the responsibility and just take it back to whatever organization they're with, or yeah.
Thank you. And Chris is next.
Hey, this video looks awesome. I'm super excited about it. You guys did an awesome job, my 2 cents. How can we at Big Brothers share this video and this training with other agencies? A lot of times we get other agencies that ask us if we can train their volunteers, and we can't unless they want to be a big brother or a big sister. So it would be, and you may have already touched on this, I apologize, but what's the best way we can refer other agencies across the upstate to this training? I think it would be super helpful to them.
Or I think that's really up to you guys.
I know. So this was actually talked about when we started developing the modules. If they end up being successful and people are utilizing them, we talked about those of us that are closely aligned in the work, that are part of the collaborative, that are on track. Of course, that you have access to them. But technically, Brandon is losing business because Brandon technically goes and does trainings for folks, right? So technically, if someone reached out and said, Brandon, can you come do a training for me for, half your day, and he drives out there and does it, like that's pushing, that's promoting and getting support, financial support for his organization when he goes and does that. So outside of the Greenville community, what does that look like? And so we've talked about, like, does he charge, or do we charge organizations outside of the collaborative or in direct working within the school district to utilize the trainings? And so more with that, I'm glad you asked it. I'm glad you asked.
Okay, thank you.
Is there like data being collected behind the module saying, like, okay, someone from Big Brothers website did the training, and like a follow-up or tracking of how well, that person has progressed within their mentoring, and how well the person receiving the mentoring has progressed if they completed? Is there any like data?
Well, I know we talked about, like I said, they'll be able to see on the back end through the Thinkific platform who does the training, where they're at. Because let's say I have 2 small kids. I have a 17-year-old. I have so many different responsibilities. I can go on for an hour at lunch and start the training, right? And what happens is, because I did this a long time ago, I went in and started to like actually look as if I was doing the training. But what happened is, if I get an hour in today or 30 minutes, and I was like, oh, I gotta go, I gotta run and do this. What happens is you'll get a reminder saying, hey, you might, we're just reminding you, go back and finish the training. So we can see not only who's doing the training, we can see where they're at in the process. We can see if they've been completed. And then what we talked about also was providing additional help and resources. So whether that's through a specific email or something, if people have additional questions or concerns, or they're saying, hey, I'm actually going into the school and I encompass something that maybe wasn't in the training, how do we move forward, or how can I maneuver through this? We want to make sure that we're providing additional help outside of just what the training is. Because like you said, the training is providing general basic information, but there are so many different things that may or may not happen through the course of whether a one-on-one training or a group training that people may have questions for. And so we want to make sure that they have continued resources. And here's the thing, this training is just the beginning. This is like the beginning phases of something that we were saying, like every year, this training may need to be updated with new partners, with new resources, with new things that we maybe have encompassed. COVID happened, so you never know what could happen throughout the course of the school year. And so this is something to get started, but this is not, hey, this is what we're gonna have for the next 5 years. No, this is something right now. And if we see a need for change by next year, then we can go in and change completely and add partners and add different things. But this was just something to get started.
I'll just say real quick, I love this conversation because it's giving us the feedback we need collaboratively as we move forward with this. I think at this point, once it's released, it's out there, it'll be available to use it if you want. And if you don't see the benefit in it, then you don't have to use it, right? But again, I love hearing questions about the process. I see Curtis's question up there around alignment as well. Just understand that, every organization understanding, hey, this is being offered. Here's what the modules are. How does it align to what I'm doing? But I also love what Chris asked about what does it look like in the future? Because I think that this feedback can help shape what happens.
And where we go.
Like, is it just a community investment that we make in the training every year that supports the updates and so forth, or is it something that's charged that is outside the grooming community? Because again, selfishly, and it is selfishly, when I think about OnTrack Greenville only right now, OnTrack Greenville only serves kids in Greenville County. So I didn't think about, for me, like what happens outside of Greenville County, but Brandon serves communities outside of Greenville. So, and you all might too. So, like it definitely, I love the conversation because it can all shape how this thing becomes. And I think when the director comes on board, they will obviously do all the research and the conversations with each of you about how this thing evolves.
And how does it work with the collaborative?
And how it works with the collaborative. Yeah.
One of the questions that the whole idea of cultural competency, okay, part of that is you go into a new situation. Like we had at the jail, we had people who want to volunteer with the kids and they're afraid.
Right.
Right. And part of it is, the first thing we do is we bring them in, meet the kids, and then they're cool. After 1 or 2 meetings, they're cool. So in your mentoring, because these are new mentors.
Right.
Okay. Culturally competent, because we come in with biases.
Mm-hmm. We talk about that.
Are you including children? I know they're protected, but to include the children's voices, because some of the most powerful things is when a child says, I was able to do this because of my mentor. My mentor showed me respect by putting their phone away. Well, I don't know, but it's more powerful than if any of you professionals tell me, this is how you do it. That if a child says, so that's just,
well, we have some videos that we pulled, some national videos talking about students saying, because I was mentored, this happened. Okay. Because somebody spoke into my life, here's what happened. So we actually have different scenarios where we'll show clips of students. And for instance, we have this one kid talking about just how angry he has been and just the rage that he's had and some of the things that he's experienced. And the point that we wanted to prove is just by looking at this student, you would never know what he's going through. You would never know some of the things that he's experiencing in his culture that's real to him, his reality, his real life. And so being aware of what questions to ask to be able to get to a place where you can kind of establish those things.
The other thing is, as a foster parent, the average time for a foster parent to be a foster parent is about 7 months. Because they do not know what they're getting into.
You're right.
Okay?
You're right.
And part of it is, if they knew up front, one, they might not get into it. But also, when you know this is gonna be difficult and you have to love through the difficulty, you have to be able to, your possessions are not your possessions. So some of those things are the same with mentoring, because that fostering is like mentoring at a higher level.
And I think that was a goal too. We wanted them to understand what they could potentially be getting into.
There's just, they need a reality check that it's a wonderful experience.
I got a program for that.
But it's, you know,
Literally.
here's the reality of it, guys. Some are gonna work, some are not gonna work.
Yeah.
So just, I don't know if that's in there, but for a first-time mentor, all roses and candy, you know, you're coming in thinking that.
That sounds like your module.
You know.
That is right there, sounds like your module. Don't think it's gonna be roses and candy. That's the name of the module.
Roses and candy.
This is such a great conversation. And I thought that it was so interesting that you talked about, you know, wanting to really create something that makes mentoring possible for every youth in Greenville, because that aligns with the vision for Greenville Mentoring Collaborative. And I think also this, you know, concept of being the statewide leader and, you know, using technology as a way that we become that statewide leader, I think is going to be important, because to your point, we're thinking about Greenville County, but how can we then be able to help support the rest of the state in becoming, you know, the village that they need to be for their community. So this is great conversation. We had 2 people come in during the meeting, and so I did want to recognize Annie Lee Buck. So Annie, if you wanted to unmute yourself and say hello and just introduce yourself, and then we also had one person join us in the room, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, sure. My camera seems to be cutting me off. Sorry. I'm Ann Lee Buck. I'm the new coordinator of community collaboration for the school district for Greenville County Schools. So Whitney Hanna took over Terry Brinkman's spot when she retired, and I have jumped in and taken over Whitney's old role. So I'm excited to be a part of this group. My background, I you know, actually used to work for communities and schools, designed our mentor training, recruited mentors, trained mentors. And so, you know, the work that this group is doing means a lot to me. And I certainly recognize the importance in high quality mentors, as well as the great need that we have in our schools and with our students. So looking forward to being a part of the group.
Thank you. We're excited to have you. And can you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Johnny Sellers. I'm the executive director for the Upstate Fatherhood Coalition. And also I'm the pastor of Evergreen Baptist Church in Anderson, South Carolina. And so, you know, hey, mentoring is a part of my life. I've always done it. Myself and with Anderson, Dr. Anderson, we're 100 Black men. So, you know, and I talk about CDF because I've worked with CDF a lot and watched how CDF has grown from when we talk about having kids during the summer and mentoring and the things that Man Right Alderman has done across the country. I can just see this being a forefront, just like you said, you want to be the statewide leader and mentoring across the state. I can see this happening just with this training alone. I think it's innovative. I'm sorry. Like it's at best. Yeah, innovative at best.
We're not sorry.
Well, you know what I mean. But it's innovative. It's fresh. I mean, it caught my eye as soon as I watched it. Yes. I was like, yes. I hadn't seen a mentoring video in so long. Nobody want to sit in the, you know, we want some fresh faces, some fresh ideas, some fresh voices. We tired of stale voices.
Yes.
So
we're glad that you're a fresh voice with us today.
Well, I appreciate it.
And I think now it's time for Mark to close us out with some discussion.
Okay, I think we're just going to go around the table, and if anybody has any updates that are pertinent to the whole group, I'm going to start. Yesterday, I met with Eckert Connect, okay, and they're associated with SC Work, but Eckert Connect is the nonprofit arm of Eckert Drug, which no longer exists, but the profit arm does exist, and they have a couple of programs. One is a GED for 17 to 20, wait a minute, what is it? 17 to 21-year-olds to help them get their GED. The kids will get paid. Okay, they also have a job training, and for some employers, they'll actually pay the employer the salary of the child up to $5,000. So for those of you that are mentoring 17-year-olds and above, this is worth contacting them to find out about it. And even if your organizations are mentoring other children, you may want to contact Eckerd Connects. They're based out of Tampa, Florida, but I was very impressed with my conversation. The reason we connected is because of the GED program, and I'm now in recruiting for Greenville County. So we're trying to recruit graduates, but GED people for our jail to become officers. Great starting salary at $42,000. Just need a GED. You know,
For
you have
the
to
detention center.
the detention center, yeah.
Part, okay.
But you have to be 21 years of age. We're trying to get it down to 18. So that's what the reason I met with them. But I was impressed. So what I want to do is I want to email this to Alicia, and Alicia can email the flyer out to the group. If anybody wants a copy, you're welcome to have one. I brought some extra flyers.
How many people are you looking for the detention center?
We are short 73 officers.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, to be straight.
You got some capacity there.
But it's a good starting salary. It's not for everybody.
Yeah, no,
But
yeah,
it's not going away. So you got a career there. You got good benefits for the family.
Let's pray that it is.
Yeah, we hope so.
Mhm.
We hope so. But with our county growing, even if it stays the same, that's a plus. But we're the mental health hospital too for the county.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
People
Yeah.
don't realize that.
Yeah, that's the issue. Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
I know that
He's gonna help us. So I'll get around. Sinead, do you have any Phoenix Center updates?
No Phoenix Center updates. We are possibly starting a summer program for our students. So we'll probably talk to some of the schools to kind of wrap up from them to see what kids might be interested in doing, like a 2-day summer program all day for them. So it'll be like, I think last or before COVID is the last time we had a summer program. It'll be like a Tuesday and Thursday from like 9 to 3.
Okay.
Doing some experiential stuff. So either going hiking, or doing some weightlifting or something in the community, and then we'll come back kind of like process that.
What age group?
So 12 to 18 is our age range.
Okay.
Do y'all like take new students then at that point, or is it just students that are currently working with the Phoenix Center?
I would say you're taking new students, but we're short staffed. So yeah, we'll probably keep what we currently have open. But we are, seeing that there is a need, so.
Can
Everybody.
can you
When are y'all doing this?
speak?
It'll be this summer, so probably starting, what's that, June?
June.
Oh,
third week.
I was looking at the time. We have like
I'm
7
trying to see
minutes.
I can incorporate that with what we have going on with the Upstate Father College. We have a new program.
Okay.
And it's taking flight from last year to now, so.
Did you say that y'all have a summer program as
Yeah, I
well?
was waiting for Brandon, and Brandon knows her name.
Yeah, no, we just, as a matter of fact, tomorrow is our very last day of Forward and Beyond. We've been in the school for 24 weeks. We do 3 8-week seasons. Yeah, I know it's a lot. So we're having a big award tonight. But as far as this summer, we got a couple of different opportunities to collaborate with other organizations. I didn't want to do anything specifically just alone with FAB because we're getting ready to take on at least 4 schools next year. And so just kind of ramping up and getting all the volunteers, preparing for that, training, making sure that we have everything we need. That's just going to take a lot. So it's kind of like, for us, this is plowing season. You know what I'm saying? We're getting everything, laying the foundation for next year. And then even with additional trainings and stuff like that, just kind of trying to configure. Because if you look right now, as it relates to education and trainings that relate to, everything is outdated. Everything is outdated. And so just bringing fresh, relevant new ideas to the table that deal with this day and age, post-COVID concerns dealing with students across the nation. I mean, a lot of the stuff that you look at, it doesn't address what's going on right now. So just figuring out ways to partner with other organizations to make sure that we bring additional things to the table that just ultimately help people reach other people in a better way. And it's pretty much just connecting ourselves to something bigger than ourselves. So if we connect and do something collaboratively in this room, not only will it outlast us, but it could go all the way to Seattle, Washington, or this place or that place based off what we put together to help other people in areas where they're at as well. So that's kind of where my mind is at right now.
We have 5 minutes left, so I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance, including those online,
Okay,
to be able to share.
I'm gonna go real quick. At the Upstate Fathers Coalition, we have of course, we work with our fathers, and that's ongoing every day. Peer support, everything. But we have a summer program going on right now, June the 20th through the 1st, called Building Better Bridges. That's for our youth, for DJJ, where we work alongside DJJ with our young people. And July the 18th through July 18th through July 30th, we do Ready for Life. That's open to anybody in the community. We try to get at-risk kids. I think that's going to be at Furman University. So if you have some kids between 16 and 19 is our focus, they can come to our program. We don't ask for anything. We don't charge them. It's free. All they got to do is show up. They can meet us at our parking lot. We'll get them there. Again, it's free. We feed
For
them.
females as well as males, or just males?
We try to focus on males, but we will allow females to come in. It depends on the number, because of the grant is focused on males. I try to stick with the grant, but I will have females if need. Yep. So if you got any like to present, I think Rico number presenters too. They might have presenters, I don't know, but it's the second year. In June the 18th, we have a family day at Flora Field, thing that fatherhood and Unity Health and Going Home. So if you would like to take part, please let us know. We're looking for vendors and all.
All right. Did you have anything, Dr. Anderson?
Just on June 24, Bold Leadership Collaborative of 10 principals and assistant principals are hosting an event for mentor organizations to bring their mentors, and they're supposed to dress up with their mentees, bring them out. For students that are under the age of 10, I believe they're going to get access to the museum that day if they want to do that with their mentees, making a day of it. But it'll also be a huge recruitment. Just you can learn about mentor organizations in the community, but also Bowl will be basically getting names of people in the community, people at the museum, people downtown that would love to serve as mentors, not for Bold, but to share those names with you all, with organizations.
So
that are mentors.
Can other organizations have a table at the event?
Yes.
Were they?
So
June 24th.
That might be something for the.
I don't know all the details. I'm involved, but I'm not planning this event.
Do you know who the contact person is? Or like, give it to Alicia and then she can get it out to the group.
Yeah. Contact for that.
Oh, we taking part. I talked.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Perfect.
saying, yeah.
Okay.
Same thing. You said exactly what's going on.
Oh, done. Okay. It's good. I'm not really in that conversation, but yeah.
And then on the screen, I see Annie Lee, then Victor, then Samuel, then Natalie. And I think that's all we have left. Do any of you have announcements?
I actually have no announcements, but it was a pleasure listening to the presentation, and I look forward to working with all of you again.
Thank you, Sam.
You all can just follow us at Bruh Mentor or www.bruhmentorship.org. Thank y'all for having us.
Yeah, no updates here, but this was great information today.
Nothing here as well. Thanks.
Thank you. So for those of you who do have events coming up or have information that you want shared, if you will send me the link and any details that I need to get out to people so they know exactly what to do with the information. And then our next meeting, and I don't know if you want to talk about topics for the next meeting, our next meeting would be June 8th, I believe. And let's see. I think that we were going to talk about potential topics for June 8th. Right?
Yes, that was another, I kind of dropped that ball. But I know I'll just echo Connect did want to come in and talk to the mentoring groups and just kind of present what they can do and answer any questions people might have as it relates specifically to your group of people that you serve. That's a possibility. I'm just, anybody else? I'm just opening it up to the floor to any other suggestions.
I do have a suggestion because students are out June and July. For those sessions, I would love to see youth involved and incorporated in our meetings since they would be available. Okay. And we can maybe think about, strategically what those topics would be, but it would be really good to have, a couple of topics that we can integrate youth, whether it's a panel or whether, we can think about that, but I would really love to see them since they're the voices that we need to hear from.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea.
Would we possibly be able to connect with someone who was in the juvenile detention center with you? Do you have any contacts with some of those young people?
With the young people
that were in the jail? Yeah.
Through the REACH program?
Through the REACH program, yeah.
That's how I would do it.
Okay.
Because they've all the kids who left, they're taking all the kids who left and kind of working with them.
Okay.
And we can bring that up in our Phoenix Connect meeting. Crystal on Friday. Talk about some of the kids that are.
So Crystal.
Yeah.
We have a meeting on Friday with Crystal.
The other topic that may be of interest to our collaborative is that we have, I want to say, I can't remember what the statistic was, but we've had an exponential increase in gun violence, in particular among young men of color. And so possibly even having a conversation that includes the youth maybe around something that deals with that. It doesn't have to be with them, but just thinking about other topics that are relevant right now that we're going to be dealing with for a while, unfortunately. And so we can, as society, figure out how to get along with each other.
Now, Yvonne might be able to speak into that too, because of the gravity program in the city, but just from the juvenile detention facility, that's a definite. There are more gun violence in the last 2 or 3 years than there has been ever before.
So we did an event with Yvonne, who represented the collaborative. She did a little bit of her own stuff too.
I was proud of her.
She did.
She did a whole, because she was like, I'm so nervous. She did a whole speech. She talked about the collaborative and bringing people together and getting involved. She did a really good job.
She did a great job. You did too. Brandon did a great job. In Prisma Health, they brought a Black male pediatrician. I believe he's their only one in Greenville. And he's from Highway 25 community, and did an event on the impact of youth violence at Mount Pleasant Community Center a few weeks ago. And we're intending on doing more of those events. So I think it would be cool to do something similar, maybe bring back the same people or more people from the collaborative to talk about what now. That's what the conversation really was, like, it's happening, what now?
So if anyone online has any recommendations now, please feel free to share. You can also email and we will put together some topics for June and July very soon.
Did the internet just cut out?
Take care, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for opening up, Samuel.
I think they thought we just cut off on them.